What is up, everyone? Today you're going to be watching history be made. Okay, really, not really history being made, just me doing something that I've been talking about for a while. I'm making my Folk Valley novel. As you've seen in my posts and on my shorts, I've been doing a lot of Folk Valley memes, specifically the Cat in the Hat trend. And some of the shorts got really descriptive, and some people were telling me that I should adapt this into a novel because some of those shorts are actually inspired by old novel ideas of mine. So you know what? I'm doing it, and I'm going to give you a little sneak peek. You're going to watch me write the first chapter of the book. So if you saw in my post, I posted a synopsis. It's about a man named Crow getting kind of stranded on the countryside, and then we kind of see him stumbling upon the town of Folk Valley, and there he kind of starts out fine, but it gets more odd as time goes on. That's all I have so far. I'm gonna kind of figure out what exactly I'm gonna do with all the weird shit, but it's definitely gonna be real surreal. So we're gonna start with the opening chapter. His car not crashes, breaks down on the side of the road. I said truck, but for a certain plot point, I think I'm gonna make it a car. You'll see later. So yeah, let's start off. I always like to start my novels off with a description of like a sensation or a sound or a feeling happening. So let's start with something like the car beast with a low hum from the engine. Something like that. That's what I'm kind of looking for. Crow, Crow, who had held faith it hours, slammed slammed the slammed the hood. Slammed the hood in frustration. Something like that. See, so you get a description setting the scene, and then a description of the protagonist. So the car ceased with a low hum from the engine. Crow, who had held faith in it for hours, slammed the hood in frustration. For there was no faith, for there was no faith left to be spared. Yeah, something like that. See, I like to do little fancy stuff like spared and adding on. One, two, three. Though there's like four commas or whatever. That's a bit of a run on, but you know what? That's kind of my style. I do a lot of run on sentences. Anyways, the mist held held itself in high esteem over the countryside. Thick like a veil cast over the hollow fields. Thick like a veil cast over the hollow fields. Crow. Crow. What else? Crow didn't. Crow need. No, not need not. That sounds too old style. Crow desired not to veer from the road. For the notion of the mist often frightened him. Often frightened him. For the notion of mist often frightened him. For the notion of the just mist, not the mist. Crow desired not to veer off from the road, for the notion of mist frightened his weary figure. Okay. The car ceased with a low hum from the engine. Or just, what if I just do low hum? Just low hum, yeah. The car ceased with a low hum. Crow, who had let's add from the end, adds a bit more texture to it. Crow, who had held faith in it for hours, slammed the hood in frustration, for there was no faith left to be spared. The mist held itself in high esteem over the countryside, thick like a veil cast over the hollow fields. Crow desired not to veer from the road, for the notion of that mist often frightened his weary figure. He he stood there for an hour, maybe two, waiting another to buy, possibly provide. He stood there an hour, maybe two, waiting for another to pass on by, possibly pass on by, possibly provide him the means of moving word. Those means never came to be. Came to be. Okay, okay. The mist seemed to pull away area longer. Crow waited as though pitying him, as though pitying him. Drowning that mist, a forest, though distant, revealed itself midst amidst the constant constant pale. Drowning within the mist, a forest, though distant, revealed itself amidst the constant pale. Is that a bit of a stretch? I don't know. Itself amidst the constant pale. Drowning within the mist, a forest, though distant, revealed itself amidst the constant pale. Crow. 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 Looking down road. Failed to give it any failed to give it any acknowledgement. He Oh boy, I need to prepare for this a bit more. Pale gave it any acknowledgments, as though pitying him. Drowning within the mist, a forest, though distant, revealed itself. Yes. Moments. Moments came and went as Crow paced round his car, hoping sign to break stranding. And though the forest indeed its way into his vision, he cared not for its not splendor. Forest wouldn't be considered splendor in this situation, would it? As though, what else can I add? Sorry about that. Moments he cared not for its presence. Did I already use presence? Only once, okay. He cared not for its presence. Leaning back. Leaning. Leaning. Leaning against the hood of car. Crow. 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 Leaning against the hood of his car. Crow. What did he do? Stared off. Here, where he did staring off. What else could we do? What else could we add? Crow. Maybe he looks at the forest for a moment. Crow. Crow directed his attention finally longer than but a second. It held no. It held no importance in his mind. It had for in this instance in this instance in this instance the surroundings need to earn something did to earn that importance. Let's add a period instead. In this instance, something needed to earn that importance. Okay, this is not what I'm thinking. What could be in that forest that catches Crow's attention? Is it someone? No. No sign of life just yet. What could it be? Cabin? No, no. He can go. Folk Valley lay beyond the forest, but how can he get how can he get a sight of Folk Valley? Maybe there's a water tower in the I don't know. It'd be shrouded with the forests, hidden amongst the tree. Tower. What about a watchtower, old wooden watchtower? What if he climbs up there, looks out, and he sees the town? Then he sleeps because he's too reluctant to go approach. Then he goes to the town. Let's do that. Okay. Earn that importance. Try as it might. Try as it might. The thick. The collection of dying. The collection of trees lay before Crow. Couldn't draw his care. Lay before Crow didn't draw him in. Hadn't failed to couldn't draw him in. Draw him in. Couldn't draw him in. We could maybe expand that line. No. I don't need Copilot for this. Couldn't draw him in. Draw. No, Crow. Couldn't or shouldn't need not draw him in. Had yet to draw him in. Yet to draw him in. That's better than couldn't. Okay, 1 page. That took 15 minutes to do 1 page. Holy crap. Okay. I need not draw him in. Let me reference War and Peace. I can maybe get a bit of language from here. I always got like 5 books by my side whenever I'm writing one. See what language I could emulate. Go to my favorite chapter. Here we are. Okay. She waked up late. The perfect sincerity which often accompanies the moment of waking. Accompanies the moment, huh? I always like to kind of just go to random pages of my favorite books, see like what kind of language I can add to my own. Okay, so accompanied. I could use that in some way in this part. The passing moments were accompanied by an unflinching silence that even brought the wind to cease its howls. Revoke its howls. Voke its howls. The air stung softly upon Crow skin. Warm yet thick with what seemed to resemble ash. Okay. Okay. Where do we go from here? How does the watchtower reveal itself? Let's say it starts out looking like a tree, and then slowly he realizes that figure, which stuck out from the trees, juxtaposed in a way. Okay. Okay, what else can I add? Passing moments were accompanied by an unflinching silence that even brought the wind to revoke its howls. The air stung softly upon Crow's skin, warm yet thick with They resemble ash. Ash, this ash fell like snow all around him. Yet yet seemed not to venture towards the woods beyond it. Let's take a look at Brothers K for a reference. Plans to save Mitya on the 5th, very early in the morning. She sat and talked with him in the same room where she had once received Gruneshka nearby in that room. Alyosha visited the sick brother twice that day. Very basic language. I wanna add a bit more flair to mine. Don't worry about that hero. That's okay. What else? Do we have Anna K? No, I don't think we need to reference that. That shake. Okay, we can. Let's be honest. That same distant howl that wind withheld held that same distant howl the wind withheld. That same distant howl that the wind withheld. See, followed in the direction the trees. Follow the direction of trees. Withheld followed the same direction as trees. Brushing against crow's pale skin and pulling at his dirty blonde hair. Dirty blonde. Should he be blonde? Yeah, let's make him blonde. Who cares? Okay. How old is Crow? I don't think that matters really. If he was a child, I wouldn't be able to make this novel. Okay. Crow. Okay, so most of this has been just him sitting at his car and the wind deep. Shrouded in the thick of the trees. Crow caught glimpse of a figure not unlike trees around it. Not unlike the woods. I already used woods. I already used trees in the sentence already. Okay, caught glimpse. Shrouded, thick of trees. Crow caught a glimpse of a caught sights. Just caught sights. Gained sights. Sights of figure not unlike the woods around it. For a moment, second had mis. What else? For a moment he had mistaken it for another tree. Sorry if I'm stalling here. I need to get into a writing flow state. Where is my monster? That can help. Oh yeah, I drank it over. Never mind. He had mistaken it for just another tree, but gradually it revealed a more mistaken figure. More mistaken figure. Uh-huh, uh-huh. Structure. It seemed more structural than that of which did it, rising far into the mist, which by the time Crow eyes followed had removed, drawn itself from it entirely. A watchtower, tower that of wood, old, old and dry, imposed itself in Crow's vision. Okay. Where is... Let me pull up... I got Middlemarch right here. I'm going to take something from here. When I don't know what to write, just open up a book and try to copy one of its sentences. Or emulate it. Very... And there was the shock lately given, his health had already sadly present, okay, imposed itself in vision. Now, more present to him than ever expected something. It's be, but at this time it held all the importance. But at this time held a watchtower, that of wood, old and dry, impu that of old wood, just old wood, don't say old and dry. That of old wood imposed itself in Crow's vision, now more present to him than he had ever expected something of its insignificance to be, but at this time held all the importance. Okay. Um, Let me pull up Anna Karenina. I can probably set a good scene from that. Word, quiet, subdued, blushed, mention. He was in his study, fast asleep. She went over to him, lighting his face. And let's not look at Anna. Okay, let's just make something. Importance. Cease. I've already used. How many times have you used ceased in this? Huh. What? One? Okay, I only used ceased once. It's a pretty big word, so I think it'd stick out a bit. Held all the importance. It stood to compel. It stood to compel Crow, this lost child of the mist, to which the ash and wind brought. It stood to compel Crow, this lost child of the mist, to which the ash and wind brought. Gifted it. This lost child of the mist, to which the ash and wind gifted. Land. He'd worn peace again. Besieged acquaintance, stared, dazed. Okay, I can use the word dazed. Crow stood and stared at it with dazed eyes. Weary eyes. I used eyes 3 times. Dazed eyes. With a dazed gaze. That's it by the eyes. Dry skin. Dazed gaze. Dazed eyes. Stood. Dazed eyes. Remove. Okay, dazed eyes. He didn't. He desired not to remove self. from his car. But the notion of something, the notion of the notion, not notion, notions, the presence, imposition, no, the watchtower, tower, wooed him, no, wooed, compelled, entranced him regardless. Leaving hood, crow, paste to the trunk. Which, upon his firm grasp, refused to refused to open. Tugs, a few hearty tugs, hearty yet failed tugs, told Crow that it wasn't any time soon. Okay, I have to be somewhere soon, so I'm going to once I finish this page, I'm gonna head out. But you've seen what I'm kind of doing with this. Okay, it wasn't opening anytime soon, nor did its contents desire be seen. That could be foreshadowing. We'll see. Okay, that is about as much as I can do for now. We are approaching 40 minutes, and I have only done 2 pages. This is going to take a while, but yeah, this book, I am trying to have it done for August 15th. That gives me about a little over 3 weeks to have it finished. So at the pace I'm going, it's not going to be a long novel, but I'll try to put in as much as I can to do Folk Valley justice. So I'll see you guys next time. This is about as much as I can do for now, and I gotta go. Goodbye.